Hello Craig, how are you doing?
I'm alright. Thank you for coming in.
Brilliant. Craig is the founder of Glen Affric Brewery. Fantastic barrels, fantastic brewery. You've seen the tour, hopefully you've seen the brewing video. But we're going to talk about the roots of this brewery, the range of this brewery, the exciting beers this brewery got, and of course where we're going in the future, or where you're going in the future, Craig.
Yeah.
So where did it all begin? I believe in China.
Yeah, so long story short, myself and my father were working and living in China, specifically in Shanghai. And then we were there at that time when craft was really exploding, particularly in Shanghai. So you had breweries like Dr. Beer, Liquid Laundry, Boxing Cat, Shanghai Brewery, all these places. Boxing Cat was a big one, yeah. So we got kind of in on the ground level of what was happening, particularly in China when it comes to craft beer.
Yep.
So like I was 19, 20 when it started to happen, so I hadn't had much exposure to beer. I did actually have Punk IPA when they actually started going out into the market wider before that.
Yeah.
My exposure to that, but outside of that, that's from just outside of Glasgow in Hamilton, so Tennent's is life, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to then go on to the complete flip end of that and to be exposed to a complete wide range of beers like lychee lagers and peach hefeweizens and all these kind of Sichuan peppercorn stouts and all these kind of amazing new flavor combinations. It just opened our eyes quite a lot, frankly. So it then became kind of like a reverse pilgrimage. A lot of the brewers who were in China in the first place were already Americans, and they were bringing their beers over to China and integrating local ingredients.
Yeah.
We got inspired by that, and then we went over to the US.
Right,
So
okay.
I kind of say that we found out about craft beer in reverse. Most people find out in the UK or in America. We actually found out in China and went back to the US, specifically San Diego. We spent a lot of time over there. And
The roots of it all.
the roots of everything. So we were there during the IBU wars where everything was really bitter.
100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, not exactly the most approachable for newcomers to craft beer. Crazy high ABU, 7% IPAs is the standard kind of thing. But then that kind of got the ball rolling in terms of what we wanted to do. I then ended up studying at Brewer Lab up in Sunderland to learn about my brewing course. And then from there, I actually ended up doing a summer internship at Boxing Cat. Through a friend of a friend, I ended up knowing somebody who actually works at Boxing Cat. Ended up meeting the brewmaster, Michael Jordan, not the same person. Not that one. MJ, as he's otherwise known. He brought me in because he knew that I was really going to be leaving to start our own brewery. So he's like, come on board, learn as much as you can, and we'll just take it from there. So I was really lucky and fortunate to kind of have that opportunity. So China's a really big integral part of the brewery's like history.
Yeah. Fantastic. So that's the start, and then you decided to open a small brewery.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's not so small anymore. It's got not so small very quickly.
Yeah. So we've seen the small brew kit. If you've not seen the brewery tour video, you probably want to watch that before you watch this. But we started off with a very small brewery, which we're brewing on today. Yeah. Was it in this building?
This is the original. Well, this isn't the original site. It's the original site that we put our brew house on.
Right.
The whole story. I don't know if you want me to get into the story about how Glen Affric started.
Yeah, sure. Go.
Yeah. I mean, so the initial idea for the brewery was that it was going to be a retirement project.
Right.
For myself and mainly for Dad.
Yep.
Kind of done his work. We wanted to go up. We have a place in Glen Affric, specifically in Cannock, up in the Highlands. We've had that for just coming up on 10 years now. Okay. There was a bar that went into bank receivership in the village. We thought, that's the ideal location. It's called the Glen Affric. It's in Glen Affric. Yeah. It would make it as like a little brew pub.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's got a bit out of hand since then.
And it's in Liverpool.
And it's in Liverpool. Yeah. So the story behind the bar up there is quite complex. We essentially have to knock it down to build a bespoke facility. Right. We've knocked it down. We were hoping to put in the foundations in the previous winter, but the winter that was meant to arrive in the Highlands in like late January, early February, arrived smack bang in the middle of November.
When you want to...
Right bang of when we want to put in foundations and do all that stuff. So I myself actually had to drive up overnight and quickly turn off all our water, because we had previous years to that, we had a burst pipe and it cost us a lot of money to fix. So I had to go up to the house and fix everything. So again, that just halted all the work. But previous to all that happening, we knew we were going to have to knock that bar down and build a bespoke facility. Yeah. We didn't realize how long that was going to take. That took 3 years, 6 months and change.
Okay.
We just got the planning permissions and building warrants a couple of months ago. Yeah. Not that long ago. And of course, in that time, we built this.
Okay.
So in the meantime of that, once we discovered the timeline, it's like, right, we want to look closer afield. So we've lived in this area, in the Wirral, since 1993.
Right. Okay.
My brother, who you met earlier, unfortunately he's not here for the video, he was 5 days old when we moved here.
Wow. Okay.
So we've been here a long time, and we just found this unit by chance. I was looking at another unit for the brewery. That all fell through while I was living in China. I was traveling back and forth and finding spaces. The space that I was flying back to sign the paperwork on, they reneged on the contract and anything while I was on the plane.
Right. Oh no.
So it's like, right, okay, we now have to find somewhere fast. I looked online, found these amazing units. They were less than 6 months old. They were brand new.
Yeah.
So we moved in pretty much straight away, and that's where we put in our 5 hectoliter kit that we're now brewing up today.
Amazing. And of course, the success of it all.
Yeah.
It means you've grown very quickly into this space.
Yeah. No, we to say we didn't anticipate it would be slightly wrong. We did kind of anticipate that we would have some growth, obviously, but there were a couple of key steps to that. The main thing being is that I was essentially brewing on that brew house by myself before we expanded out to the team, which I'm sure many of the guys have already met, especially the other video, they've met a lot of the other team now. But I was brewing on that kit by myself. That's part of 2 years before we grew out the team. But we installed our tap room pretty early on. That was one of the first things that we knew we wanted to do. Genuinely the first, there's still masking tape marks from when we actually mapped out the bar space. Because we want people to walk in, like in many of the places in the US. You know, you walk into the tap room and you see the brewery behind you, and it's just this cacophony of like steel and bar and open space. And we knew we wanted to hit that. So, but when we opened the tap room, it just compounded everything. Like our growth just happened really, really quickly. It came from me brewing once or twice a week on that kit to brewing as much as I possibly can just to feed the tap room. We weren't even doing any outbound trade, much to the chagrin of many of our trade customers who, up to before the bar was open, you know, we were selling to, and then we had to kind of pull stock back in. So it became a question of like, we need an expansion quicker rather than expected. So we then expanded to our larger vessel so we can facilitate both and also then do pilot systems like we're doing today.
The collaboration we're doing there, the 4 Fruit Goes, which is Stone the Goes.
It's my name, by the way. I just want to point that out.
He got it. We nailed that one. We'll talk about the barrel aging in a minute. I want to talk about the can range. So if somebody was to be watching this video, of course you have a core range.
Yes, we do have our core range here.
Let's have a look at the beers, and then Craig will tell you where you can pick these beers up.
Yeah, sure. So of course, if you've watched Simon's video before, you'll be familiar with Highland Suntan. It's our flagship extra pale ale. It's one of the first recipes that we ever did. That I did.
All right, hello there. Looking good.
Coming in.
Looking good.
This is Trevor.
No, you don't need to.
This is Trevor. How are you doing, Trevor? Okay. Trevor doesn't like the camera.
One on the camera. Yeah, he's just come in.
Okay, so that's Highland Suntan.
So Highland, our extra big, like extra pale ale, big flagship beer.
Loads of juicy, hops going on.
Exactly. Super light. We want that big crisp flavour. Next, I would say would be our Middle Mosaic, our single hop IPA. This is kind of our flagship IPA, if you will. Obviously, you know much about Mosaic, that big, juicy, tropical kind of tangerine and pineapple kind of flavors. We love it. One of my favorite hops in the world, that's why we did it. Actually, interesting story behind this beer in particular. That was meant to be part of a series. It was meant to be a single hop series. Hence the single hop idea. It's meant to be Miller Mosaic, Miller Simcoe, Miller Vizaka, and all that kind of stuff. We made Mosaic first, and then we just went, well, we're just going to keep this.
This is straight. Everybody wants this.
This is straight. Everybody wants this. We love this, and it's now a beer that we make all the time, and it's a house beer in a lot of places as well.
I think it's really important that a brewery, any brewery, has an identifiable kind of range of beer. People can go, I like that beer, I can get that beer, I can get that beer all of the time. You've nailed it on with it. It's 5.6% ABV, it's still sessionable.
It's still, it's higher, it's obviously higher than, you know, your traditional pale ales and things, but it's much more, the way I would say it's approachable. It's much more approachable in that if that's a person's first exposure to your beer, particularly if they don't know a lot about beer, like it's ideal. That's super ideal, and they're just going to get this waft of hop.
hops.
But it's not going to be overpowering or too bitter. Like that was the one thing we really strive for, is balance in that beer as well. Obviously, you pointed out in Highland Suntan, it's something that we try and do, particularly within our core range, kind of our flagship, is we just want them to be really approachable for people.
Yeah.
Because then you have that foot in the door to then go to everything else, which you'll see later is a pretty wide selection of wacky stuff.
We're gonna dive into these
we've got a lot
later on. So what we're gonna do, we're still on the mash rest at the moment. So in between brewing today, I'm going to be doing a lot of these beer reviews. So sorry for interrupting.
No, it's fine. That's
Lock and load.
Lock and load. I think it would be sacrilege if we were a Scottish brewery and didn't have a lager. So this is Lock and Load. It's our New World Pilsner. The difference with this being is that we only use New Zealand hops in it.
Okay.
The hops that we use are actually all the parentage or all traditional Germanic lager hops anyway.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing with a lot of New Zealand hops, is that they've all got that traditional German parentage, you know. So we use things like Wakatu Waiti, Motueka, all that kind of really fun, like they've got the kind of traditional lager flavors of that lemon and lime and kind of like grassy notes, but it's just turned up to 11.
Yeah.
Because of where they're grown in New Zealand.
Right. Okay.
So very familiar with New Zealand hops. That's what we actually used to use a lot, like boxing cats.
Just
like
juicy.
Just because of the region that you're in, you have much more access to New Zealand hops and Australian hops than anywhere else.
Than anywhere else in the world. Okay, so
you just chatting? Yeah.
we're having a talk about the beers. Yeah, come on through. This one's really kind of, because I love my stouts and porters. This one's really excited me. How does it sound? Nutella. Nutella oatmeal porter.
This is the last one in our core range. Last one in our core range.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's the last one in our core range. This is Black Bros. It's our oatmeal porter. I thought you were getting really excited about oatmeal porters for a second.
Oh yeah, I am. Yeah, I love an oatmeal porter. Yeah.
No, so we knew we wanted to have a porter in our range.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really important to have that. A lot of breweries don't nowadays. I mean, a lot of breweries don't have a core range, minus that. But what I always find lacking or overpowering in a lot of these porters is that roasty character. It's too roasted, like it's overly astringent and kind of too roasty and too overpowering. Again, approachability is kind of how we designed our core range. We wanted that to have that kind of roast character, but have more of that milk chocolate kind of vibe.
That initial kind of baby step in.
Exactly, that baby step in. And I think what helps balance that a lot is oats. Because you get that kind of approachability, that smoothness, that creaminess. So it's oatmeal porter, of course, oats being very traditionally Scottish as well. We use two different types of oats. We use our flaked oats, obviously, but then we use toasted oats as well. So toasted oats is the really important kind of key factor in that beer, because it gives that kind of nuttiness that you get from oats as well. That really like just kind of adds a little like extra layer of like kind of like chocolate and nut kind of flavor to it. So it's interesting depth, and it's only 4.2 as well.
And mouthfeel as well.
Yeah, and that thickening mouthfeel as well, because at 4.2 you want something to kind of add to it, and that oats really helps kind of take that back up and make it feel like a bigger beer than it actually is. So again, approachability is kind of how we go to the core range, and then we go mad through the other stuff.
And this is why I touched on the core range, because it's approachable. People kind of know it. It's tried. It's tested, and then you can move on, I believe, into the funky, exciting, experimental stuff that I jumped the gun a bit with a Nutella beer.
Let's start with it.
Let's start with a Nutella beer, because I jumped the gun with that.
So, I mean, I was telling you the story earlier. I'll go for it again for the team, for the camera here. This is I Can't Believe It's Nutella. Which I think somebody very smartly pointed out on Twitter once. You've managed to avoid 2 copyright infringements in one go there. Which I thought was pretty smart.
There's no butter in this.
There's no butter in that. I can assure you there is no butter. Hazelnut, chocolate and vanilla porter. It's obviously inspired by a hazelnut spread, which I think we can say is Nutella.
Amazing.
Started off as a old homebrew recipe, we knew it was really cool, but we just never got around to it. Obviously, with expansion and brewing and constantly evolving, we never got around to it. Been in my notes to brew back again for a while. Came up in the schedule. I don't brew an awful lot anymore. I'm one of the founding brewers, but I don't get to brew a lot just with all the other work that we do here. We've got a team now. But this is one I knew I wanted to brew. So I brewed it, 500 litres, very small batch. Before it even went into packaging it all pre-sold. So we knew it was like, this might get onto something. So I was really happy with that batch, but there was a couple of tweaks I wanted to make, and with that demand we had demand for kegs and cans and all that, because we never did any can. It was just a keg release, and it had all pre-sold even in keg before that. So it's one of those things where, okay, right, we need to scale this recipe. So one thing we're really good at, I think, here is that we can develop a recipe on our 500 and scale it up to 3,000 or even 6,000 years. And that's exactly what happened here. So we had an order from one of our suppliers for 10,000 cans of that beer, which is already 3,300 liters.
That's incredible.
So it was more than even the original brew volume of 3,000 liters.
Yeah.
We were scaling up. So we had to make 6,000 liters of it. So scaling that recipe was a fun challenge, but really, really happy with the results. And we've made another batch of it. So it's one of those things where we now specialize in making really interesting recipes, and then if they work, then we scale them. You know, we don't just brew it once and then kind of move on and do something else. Although we do that as well, but if something sticks, then we're going to keep that around.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Amazing. And then we have micro Keller beers.
World award-winning Keller beer, I should say.
A world award-winning Keller beer. Yeah.
So
they took it to the Germans' backyard and smashed it and got a world beer award.
Yeah, so micro variation. It's our micro Keller beer, 2.8%. So definitely on the lower end. It's part of our micro series where beers are below 3%. But we submitted that to the World Beer Awards, and that won World's Best Keller beer last year in 2019. Really, really proud of that. I can't say that's my recipe, that's Matt's recipe, who obviously you saw walking around the tour earlier. Loves his German beers, and he made that, and he made a world award-winning beer.
World award-winning beer. That's terrific. Absolutely terrific.
Super chuffed with that beer.
Yeah,
I was drinking that last night, in fact. My wife made some spicy Korean barbecue chicken wings, and that went perfectly with it.
2.8% ABV. It's probably, if you're going to watching the beer reviews later on, this is going to be where I probably start, just to ease my way in. It's 10:30 in the morning. Yeah. Ease my way in with a nice 2.8% ABV.
Absolutely.
Keller beer.
Where else would you like to go? You want to just keep going down the line here?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got it. This is a Norwegian. I love Norway. I've been to Norway lots of times.
Yeah, that's why I thought we'd pull this out.
Yeah.
So this is the Ingermund IPA. This is our Kvik IPA. Interestingly, this uses Lallemand new Voss Kvik yeast that actually hadn't been released at the time of when we packaged it. We were actually the first brewery in the UK to package a beer with that yeast, which was very cool for us.
Yeah.
So that worked really well. Lovely, lovely strain. We fermented it really high at like 38 degrees Celsius. It ferments like nothing. Yeah. Loads of stone fruit juice.
Quick, isn't it?
Very, very quick.
Yeah.
This is something that we're definitely going to play around more with. Again, this was a 500 litre batch that we made, but now we've made 3,000 litres of it.
And once you cultivate that yeast, you can keep it going.
You can prop it up. Yeah. It's one of those yeasts that will grow continuously.
Yeah.
So I think that yeast actually in particular, with the commercial market in the UK, I think specifically, I think there's going to be a lot of this kind of style of beers coming out now with the approachability that you're getting with this dried yeast that they're Lallemand are bringing in. The quality of it, I think, is just really amazing.
Fantastic.
Sunset Boulevard. This is a new one that just released a couple of weeks ago. It's a collaboration with Beatniks Republic, based out in Manchester. Apricot and peach sour. We've done a number of sours in the past, including, again, some world award-winning sours. Like we did our raspberry and coconut sour, Blissful Afternoon. That one, UK's best sour. And then we did Tart and Typhoon, our passion fruit mango sour. That one, UK's best flavoured sour, World Beer Awards as well. Yeah. But then we released this one. So a lot of those have all been really bright, really tropical, really juicy. Yeah. We kind of wanted to try the other end a little bit, more of that kind of richer, maltier, stone fruity kind of character. So it's a little bit darker than your traditional sour, but it's got really rich apricot kind of flavors in it before we even added the fruit. And then we added a load of apricot and peach puree on top of that, just to kind of add that really interesting depth. So the flavor lingers a lot. You get like apricot on the front end and peach on the back end. It really just kind of lasts for a long period of time.
I'm looking at these beers. We got two more to show.
We got two more. We'll blast them through.
Barrel aging.
Yeah, sure, we'll go through that. So, Rotting Stag, our American red ale, definitely a beer that's really, really popular for us. That's a house beer for a lot of places. It's something that we really strive for. As you've probably kind of gotten a little bit of a hint of, a lot of our beers are a bit more on the crazier, wackier side. Outside of our core range, we do a lot more interesting stuff, but like this is very traditional in its like malt, hops, water, yeast. Like it's those kind of 4 core ingredients, but it's one of my favorite beers to ever drink. Like it's the perfect like sit down if you want to go back to the old days of that like bitter, like kind of caramelly. Yeah. And it's got rye in there as well, so it adds a bit more complexity when it comes to spice.
Red ales, American red ale is one of my favorite styles of beer. I just love the way the malt and the hops just It's like they're a match
yeah.
made in heaven.
Yeah, yeah. It's just
The
you get this
sweetness, the
cavalcade
bitterness.
of
Yeah.
flavor, and it's
Yeah.
just it's so depth and so rich, and it's only 5%, but it's just
So you can have a few of these.
yeah, you can have a few of them,
In
and
a
it's
tap room.
always been yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Secretly, we actually have some of this stashed away in some whiskey barrels.
You've seen the barrel aging process. I was so impressed with that one.
I pushed for that. I wanted some rutting stag and some barrel aged
Fantastic,
bourbon.
yeah.
So we've got like 3 or 4 barrels tucked away with some rutting stag in there.
So that'll be kind of very quickly on that. So the any of the kind of the whiskey in the wood or the whatever, the bourbon or
That's
whatever
just going
you
to add
use.
to that rich malt flavour.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
and it'll
Yeah.
take you up to about, as a guess, maybe 8%, will it?
Possibly, we're not entirely sure yet.
Yeah.
We just let the barrel do their thing.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to let it age too long, maybe about 6 to 8 months. We'll pull out samples probably in the next couple of months and see how we go. We only put it in barrels relatively recently, so we just kind of let it do its thing first for a little while before we take them out. But yeah. Really interested. The last one that we'll cover on today, this is Rhubalicious. It's one of our kind of new specialty beers that we've just released.
Rhubarb.
It's a rhubarb and custard wheat beer. Again, an old homebrew recipe
Yeah.
that just worked really well as a small batch, and we wanted to do a little bit of a test, so we did a 500 litre batch of it. Very much the kind of rhubarb kind of candied sweets that you get.
Yeah.
One of the things that, because a rhubarb and custard beer, particularly in the UK scene, is not something new. You know, there are other breweries that have done them before, and others. There's a Welsh brewery that's done one as well.
Oh yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, Tiny Rebel have done one as well.
Yeah.
But for my money, I think wheat's probably the best style for rhubarb and custard to fit, because you already have that kind of creaminess, that sweetness, and the banana kind of flavors from the esters already within wheat.
Yeah.
So you already have a lot of complementing flavor factors before you start adding in your rhubarb and your vanilla custard as well.
So
It's such a good mix between the two, and it really does taste like rhubarb and custard, like candy
So
sweets.
Weizen, rhubarb, and custard.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
love Weizens. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we love doing them here, so we've got a few on tap as well. So it's
Great.
something that we love doing, and we knew that rhubarb and custard would sell really well. It's a really good combination, and yeah, we're really happy with how it's turned
Special
out.
edition.
I think it was kind of just meant to be a one-time release, but we've released a couple of wheat beers recently in the last few months, and that's definitely like the biggest seller by far for us. I'm not going to say for certain, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be making that again.
Amazing, 5.1% ABV. So you can visit this fantastic tap room on a Thursday, Friday,
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah, all the times are open on the website. We've got Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Have a look at that. Barrel aging program. So you'll be able to sit. You can see the sitting area. There's a couple of the gents there, head brewer there, sitting along these benches. You can come in, sit, have a beer. If you're lucky enough, they're still brewing on a Thursday afternoon.
Thursday and a Friday, yeah, we're usually doing something in the brewery, whether it's cleaning up tanks for the Friday, or occasionally we'll be packaging as well. So, or brewing, particularly if we're doing big sours, we usually do them on Fridays to let sour over the weekend.
Yeah.
So they'll be around as well.
So you can sit amongst aging barrels of beer, drinking rhubarb and custard wheat beers, watching the guys brew. It's almost like you're actively involved in the brewing
and we
process.
definitely wanted that. We definitely wanted that. And I'm usually behind the bar as well. I'm the taproom manager here. So
Food trucks?
We're looking at bringing that back in for either spring or summer.
Yeah.
It's something that obviously just doesn't work in winter in the UK.
No.
Unless you're undercover and loads of heat and stuff like that. But it's something we're definitely looking at bringing back. That's something I'm actively looking at for food vendors right now.
Fantastic. Craig, this has been amazing.
Absolute pleasure.
Absolutely amazing. I need a beer.
Yeah.
It won't be in this video. Watch another video where I'm gonna get the camera over where they're brewing, and I'm gonna do a little beer review while the guys are working behind. And yeah, let's do it. Stone the Crows. Check out Glen Affric Brewery. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Do you have a YouTube channel?
We do, but it's kind of inactive. So I would just stick to the usual socials for now.
Usual socials for now. Check out their beer. Stone the Crow. Stone the Goes.
Stone the Goes.
Stone the Goes. Cheers.